We want to be unconditionally accepted. So how can we expect to be unconditionally accepted if we are not unconditionally accepting our families as they are? So that first recognition is realizing that they are vulnerable beings who don't necessarily know what's best. That second awakening is having the compassion for them being exactly as they are and accepting them. Then the third is you having compassion for yourself exactly as you are and accepting that you can't go back a few levels of consciousness below where everything was fine and you could just work a job you hated and be in a relationship that didn't serve you. You can't do that anymore. You have expanded too much. You have grown too much. You know too much. You feel too much that it's like you realize you are a lion. You can't be in that zoo any longer. And sometimes it feels easier to just go back to the levels of consciousness you were at before when things just didn't bother you as much. But the thing is, those things are bothering you because you are learning your own boundaries and you are learning who you are and what you will and will not accept. Maybe every single woman in your family was expected to do everything her husband wanted to do. So sure, it might have just been easier to, when your husband yelled and got angry, to just do what he wanted to do out of fear for your own safety, out of fear for the relationship. But when you reach a certain level of consciousness, you realize I'm not going to just adapt to what someone wants because they are yelling and shouting and being angry over me. That's taking me back into my consciousness. I know too much. And I accept that they are angry. I cannot change that they are angry. I cannot force them to go to therapy or do healing because that is imposing just like they are imposing on me. And I can accept myself of how I feel in this experience. I can accept that I desire to feel heard. I can accept that I desire to feel free, that I desire to be in a relationship or a family unit where we can have open dialogue. I'm not also going to negate that desire within myself. I see a lot of people, when they realize they can't change their family, they mean that then they have to let go of what they want. It doesn't mean you have to let go of that. It means you have to stop expecting that from those specific people. So maybe you have the expectation of, my mother should have been emotionally available to me. She should have been there for me as a child, as a teenager. She should have been able to listen to me when I wanted to tell her how I felt. And I'm angry at her because of that. I hate her because of that. That might be your experience. And that is valid. It is valid to feel the anger. It is valid to even feel hatred come up because that is your experience. You can't lie to yourself. That is how you feel. But the work really is to look at, what is this expectation I have on this person, and is having this expectation just harming me? Is having the expectation going to change her? No. It's just going to make you feel unmet. So now you can know, I desire to be emotionally met. And maybe that is not by your mother. Maybe that is, first of all, by yourself. Are you emotionally meeting yourself? Are you mothering yourself? Are you nurturing yourself? So that final leg of that healing journey happens when we become the parent figures that we wish that we had. You become that open, empathetic father. You become that compassionate mother. You become that stable father. You become that joyful mother. You give those qualities to yourself, to your own inner child. You self-mother and self-father yourself. And sometimes our souls even chose family members to teach us how to be that thing for ourselves.